welcome back. We are in Grande Prairie at the Grande Prairie Live Theatre today. We are going to see a few different things, so let's go.
My name is Moutray. I'm the President-elect of the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Board of Directors. My role on the board has been the chair of the Season Selection Committee for our 62nd season. Choosing a season is real easy. No, it's a very big challenge. There's so many possible configurations and groups that we could do. Fortunately, I had a great committee behind me. A big thanks goes out to all of the committee members, Misha Albert, Alexandra Boson, Adrian Tanasichuk, Cameron Reynolds, Rick Svendsen, and Wayne Ayling. A big thank you to all of them for their knowledge, experience, and commitment to doing what is best for GPLT and our audiences. Every year is tough, don't get me wrong, but this year was especially tough because we had a grand total of 17 proposals this year, and a good number of them were from new or lesser experienced directors. Thank you to everyone who sent in a proposal. Each proposal was very well thought out and had a great deal of potential. It led to a lot of very lengthy discussions with all of our committee members. That leads us to our big question. What should the 62nd season look like? Well, that definitely was our challenge. After much deliberation, we met our recommendation to the full board, and it was accepted. Here are the plays and concerts that will entertain you and make you think. And so, with no more gilding the lily and with no further ado, here are the plays and the concerts for the 62nd season. Franz Cratchit created and is the driving force that has kept the GPLT concert series entertaining us for over 35 years. Folks, roots, blues and indie performers love to come to Grande Prairie to perform in what many say is one of the best intimate venues to play in Canada. There will be 6 concerts, all at GPLT. Only 4 are confirmed at this time. October 27th, the Eisenhowers. January 26th, Madison Violet. February 18th, the Moulettes. March 16th, the Lucy McNeil Trio. Big thank you to Franz for bringing live music to Grande Prairie.
Yeah. My name is David Banks. I'm the technical director at Grande Prairie Live Theatre. I look after all the technical components with both the theatre, Grande Downtown, and with the KMSC Law Performing Arts Theatre.
What got you into technical directing?
I was actually a volunteer many years ago at Grande Prairie Live Theatre and just found I really enjoyed that. It started quite late in life, so it was quite an interesting thing. And I found I enjoyed working in a creative atmosphere. I thought it was a really interesting thing. It was fun. Theater it's immediate, it's going to happen. You're working with incredible people and just a wide variety of different challenges. You know, there's the sound, lighting, video, making it all work together, working with volunteers. I guess it's just working in a really interesting, creative, reactive sort of world. That's what I really like about working in theater and live production.
Do you have a favorite performance that you've seen or been a part of?
No, I get asked that a lot, and that's really hard to say. There's so much to a performance. Like I've done music festivals, so that's a big scale type of thing. I've done one-act plays that you're just amazed at that one person can create that sense of emotion. You know, musical concerts can create so much. So it's really hard to sort of say. It's almost doing injustice to the ones I don't pick, because it'd be easy to sort of pick the real high-profile ones, but you know, I've done coffee shops with artists that might have been one of their only gigs ever, but they just connected so well. So it was really, you know, an impressive type. It was a really fun thing to be involved in.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that you got kind of involved in theater and the performance late in life. Did you mean like Grande Prairie Live Theatre specifically,
No,
or just in general?
Just in general. I've been working in various technical fields before, but nothing to do with theater performance arts. And I got asked, I was volunteered for a play, and I enjoyed it. And then Wayne Ayling, the manager at the time, quite a few years ago, asked if I wanted to do more stuff, and I just found I really enjoyed it. It kind of had a lot of what was missing in my life. Like I liked what I was doing, but there was no passion. And then doing this was, okay, this is cool. It combines the technical aspects, which I really enjoy, with the creative aspects. So it's finding that combination of the two. And again, like I said, you're working with amazing people. Like I'm constantly amazed at how creative and how passionate people are.
How did you gain all of your technical knowledge?
I think it was just when you find the right thing to do, or when you have this passion, you just do it. I kind of joke about it, and it's quite true. Is I'm getting paid to do my hobby, so it's weird hours, it's long hours, early mornings, late nights, at 12 or 14-hour days, just the norm. But this is fun. Like I'm getting paid to do, I get to make a living. I've been lucky to travel literally all over the world doing all kinds of events. I'm just constantly amazed that I can make a living doing this. So, I'm really lucky that way, that I sort of found that.
Can you speak about some of the events you've done or places you've been that maybe have really stuck out to you?
Again, it's hard to sort of pick a specific one, but I joke about it, but I've been paid to travel. Like I've been all over Europe, I've worked in Asia, I've worked pretty well every state, through the States, down in Mexico, with theater events, with festival events, music events, a lot of different type of things. I worked some really huge festivals, and again, it's sort of amazing that I get to do that. Like, I'll be in Paris and going like, they paid me to come here,
Yeah.
and where I'm thinking I should be paying them for this experience.
You've been kind of doing some work, but not filled with the passion that you're experiencing now. So what was maybe the catalyst for the change?
It was within literally the first hour of working on that play, and all I was really doing was running a light show somebody else had designed. But again, it was this realization, like this is a neat industry. There's actors giving their time to be here to put on this amazing production. There's all these people volunteering to put this production on and to sort of be a part of it. I just thought, this is really cool, and I want to do this. It wasn't that I didn't dislike what I did before, but it was a sort of, the job would end or the project would end, and I kind of went, well, that was okay, because it was just a job. It was like, good, we're done, collect your check and go on to the next one. Whereas this one here, you wanted it to succeed, and it wasn't a question of how much am I getting paid, how much time am I putting in. It's like, let's make this happen, and let's make it better, and let's make it as good as we possibly can. And again, you're surrounded by people that have the same thought process. There's none of this, let's leave it till tomorrow, or that's good enough. It's like, no, we could do something cool. Let's try this. So.
Grande Prairie Live Theatre is your full-time work, like you kind of remain here now?
Yep.
And have you always lived in Grande Prairie, or?
No, I lived here for about 3 years, and that's when I first started, 25 years ago. And then I moved away, I moved to Edmonton, and then I was traveling a lot. And then about 2016 or 17, I ran into Wayne Ayling. They were opening the KMSC Law Performing Arts Theatre, and he asked me to consult on that. And I was still touring, I was living on the road most of the time. And when I kind of looked into the theatre and looked into the job and looked into the whole project, I thought, oh, this looks like an interesting opportunity to sort of be involved from the beginning with what looked to be a well-run, well-organized operation. And I always liked Grande Prairie. It was always an interesting city to me, and it just sort of became a full-time thing.
So an interesting city, what do you mean by interesting?
Just a lot of opportunity, I think, is a big thing here. It's easy to sort of, people can look negatively on Grande Prairie, but it really is a city of, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of just kind of just do it attitude. The art scene is a lot stronger than a lot of people think it is. There's, some of the plays that we put on are, I'm amazed at the quality of the acting, the musical events. We've got some incredible musicians involved in different productions. So it's people that are volunteering, people that have been maybe passionately involved in the arts and then moved on in life. Well, it doesn't mean they're still not a talented actor or a talented musician. And Grande Prairie Live Theatre gives them the opportunity to still put what they've learned in practice. You know, we have people that have degrees in musical theatre. We have musicians that toured for 20 years. Well, they didn't stop being good. They just decided they perhaps wanted to raise a family, or life just changed. So it's fun being a part of a production where you get to watch that incredibly professional person do something strictly for the passion of doing it.
That's been a common theme of people kind of coming, learning a lot, maybe going off for a bit, but always returning back, which I think is very touching. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of opportunity here. You know, one of the things when I first started here, it was very quick. Within a couple of years, I was doing lighting design and sound design. I was doing a lot of productions very quickly. And then when I moved away, I realized in a lot of theaters or a lot of productions, that would take years and years before I ever got that opportunity. Like to do a lighting design at a major theater in a big city could be 5 to 10 years before you're ever done that. Here is like, if you show an interest, we're looking for people to help with that. You know, it's a volunteer-based thing, but here's the opportunity. Let's go for it. We'll help people, we'll mentor them, we'll work with them. So you get a lot of experience very quickly.
For those who don't know what a technical director does, are you able to speak a bit about what your job looks like?
Basically, just look after all of the different technical components within a production. There's lighting is a big part of it, helping with both the operation of the lights, the maintenance, the repair, the upgrading of that, sound, speakers, music events, and then, you know, now a big part of productions are video. You know, a lot of plays are incorporating video aspects to it. So it's kind of, the technical part is making sure the equipment is running, making sure it's operation, making sure it's the right stuff for what it is. And then there's the helping use that equipment in a fashion that helps the play or helps the event be effective or creative.
For any individuals who maybe are interested in the technical aspect, but perhaps are nervous or scared or don't really know where to start or what to do, what would you recommend for them?
I think that's one of the things that's really good about Grande Prairie Live Theatre is just volunteer. There's a lot of positions. You know, a lot of people think, oh, to become in a play I have to be an actor. I personally have zero interest in ever acting. Like, I think it's amazing, but it just is not something that I've ever thought of doing. So what I find interesting is you get people that come in and they volunteer as a stage manager and discover, holy smokes, I really like this, or this is really interesting. We work with some student productions, and it's really fun to sort of have a student come in and help do lights and just see their mind open and go, like, they never had any idea how much fun that could be. Because again, they thought theater is acting. Acting is quite a small part of the whole thing. It's the part the public sees. But you know, when you do a big production, the director sometimes is working a year in advance, and then she's sitting down with her stage manager 6 months in advance, and the musical director is sitting down. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and that's all things people really like doing. So it's just volunteer. You know, maybe the first position you do, you kind of go, yeah, didn't really care for that, but that other one looked really cool. And that's with our theater. We do, you know, 6 to 8 different productions, and then we also work with other groups for the production. So there's always room for volunteers to kind of get their feet wet and try things.
Then last question, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life? It doesn't have to be technical or theater specific.
I think it's just keep your mind open. Just, you know, we do this for fun. We do it for the passion of, whether it's theater, whether it's anything. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity of things. Is just look at the positive sort of thing. There's generally a good side to what you're doing, and make conscious choices to reduce the negativity and make sure you're enjoying what's going on with your life.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We open our 62nd season with a joint production. GPLT is dedicated to increasing opportunities for new theatre groups to perform in as many entertainment venues as we can find. To reinforce our support of new theatre groups, we have partnered with the new Spotlight Performance Collective to bring you an entertaining, thought-provoking musical about love and life's journeys. Directed by GPLT's Joy Dunn and featuring the Spotlight Performance Collective cast of Afton Josick, John Mark Smith, from September 19th to October 5th, we bring you a small cast musical to the stage, The Last 5 Years, by Jason Robert Brown. Yeah!
Okay, my name is Rick Svendsen. I'm the president of the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Board. I actually was a school teacher, a high school teacher in Spruce Grove, Alberta. And I moved up here to Grande Prairie because both my son and my daughter ended up in Grande Prairie, and my grandkids.
Aw.
So they talked us into moving up here, and it's been great. My daughter got me involved in the theater here, and I've been at it ever since. So it's been great.
Oh, that's wonderful. Was she an actor, stage manager, director? What was her part in the theater?
She actually did choreography for a number of shows, and so that she was a dancer when she was younger. But she works at the college here.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, Northwest Polytechnic now it's called.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So your time here at Grande Prairie Live Theatre, what would you say makes it special?
Well, I think it's the camaraderie that I feel we just had a reveal, and you could feel the atmosphere in the room, how that was. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of feeling that I get. It's like a family.
What was the most rewarding part of your presidency?
Well, I think the job of the board is basically to look at policy and how things are, to establish, what the theater and the direction that it may be going. And we've done a lot of work in that area in terms of trying to make this a safe space, a safe environment for people that volunteer and present their talents in our stage and in other venues. So we've been really working hard to try and get that in place, and I think we've done a good job in that area.
I mean, this was our first time being here ever, but just the reaction from the audience, I would say you've done a great job of it as well, because like you were saying, the camaraderie and just the enthusiasm everyone had for the reveal itself, I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah,
so.
and that's the reason I love it.
On the flip side, what would you say has been the most challenging part?
Well, sometimes as the board president, you have to deal with various problems that come up, and I don't know, I don't enjoy having to deal with those, but it's something that you have to do. It comes part of the job, and so that aspect, I guess, is something that I don't find that pleasant at times. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's something that has to be done.
That's true.
Yeah.
Have you always been on the board, or were you in another position prior to that?
No. Well, I started backstage, and then I did some stuff on stage, and then I joined the board as just sort of a member of the board. And then the way we have it is then if you become the vice president, and then there's the vice president, and then the president-elect, and then the president. So I volunteered to become president, not realizing that it led to 2 more years after that, so automatically according to our bylaws. So I ended up as president-elect and then president, and that's just for a year at a time. So this is my final year. I've got, 3 or 4 more months. Our general meeting is in September, so I'll be gone. Put out to pasture, as they say.
Did you have a favorite position? Like backstage, on stage, president? Accidental president?
Yeah, I think actually I enjoyed all those aspects of it. Backstage was fun, and it's awfully rewarding at times, and very hectic.
Oh yes.
And then on the other hand, I enjoyed being in front of the audience as well, and it to me it brought out a lot of, I don't know, just this things that I had hidden that I didn't realize I had, and gave me some self-confidence in myself, and I just kept on doing it, and it becomes easier as you go along, right?
Yeah. Theater has a funny way of doing that for you.
Right.
Do you have a favorite memory from any of the positions that you've been in?
Well, I think one of my favorite was when I first appeared on stage here in a play called Funny Money. And it was hilarious. It was a comedy. I had a great time. So that sucked me right into it. Right?
And then how many more shows did you do after that?
Well, I've been backstage and on, well, for quite a few. I don't know. It's been 10 or 15 I've been involved in, I think, or more. I don't know.
And then following your presidency, will you continue to maybe
Yes.
go on stage, backstage?
I will. I've already been booked into helping backstage for Greece
Oh, nice.
that we're having at the Polytechnic Theatre.
That will be so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
It's a bit different of a space, though.
Yeah, it's a bigger space.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. Yeah, it's going to be. That's why we wanted to get back to the Polytechnic, because the Douglas J. Cardinal Theatre is a lot huge. You know, it's huge, and it's a very pleasant space to be in. So we've made an arrangement with them for the next 10 years to put on musicals every second year. So we're looking forward and anxious. And in terms of my presidency, I guess, and the manager as well, that we're really feeling great about at least leaving that bit of a legacy with the theatre for the next 10 years. So it's good.
Mm-hmm. What would you say makes Grande Prairie special?
Well, I think in terms of the theatre itself, or just Grande Prairie.
Grande Prairie in general, or the theatre, maybe both.
Well, I think it was interesting because when I first moved up, it took some time to get used to, because you're near this huge monstrous of a city, Edmonton, right? And so, but I've learned that everything I need is here. We've met some great people, and being involved in the theatre has even increased the number of people that I know, my wife and I, and she's also involved backstage in the theatre, and she loves doing that as well, so it's been good that way. And I think it's a community that loves to help people. There's a lot of volunteerism. A lot of people donate money in this community for this type of event, you know, theaters. I mean, we have people that sponsor us, and I think it's also, interestingly, I love it because it's entrepreneurial. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a place where you can come and make a good life.
It seems that way. Just the community vibe that I'm seeing between people, it seems very, very wholesome. We were here briefly last year, and it was so much fun, and everyone here I just find is so kind and really takes time for you, which I think since Edmonton is such a big city, people have maybe less of, or they think they have less time. But
yeah, but I think too, because a lot of people here come from someplace else.
Oh yeah.
So they know how
I
that
guess.
feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, you're right. And then last question, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Well, it's not to let your own, I guess, what do you want to call it? Your own fear hold you back. I remember when I was in high school, I wanted to, I might tear up on this one, be a member of the drama club. But I thought, no, they'll think I'm a sissy. So I joined the football team. I got beat up, but I was, you know, a big tough guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I regretted that decision because in my mind, I let other people decide what was best for me. And so don't let fear and don't let other people tell you how to live your life.
But I mean, now you're in kind of like the drama club.
Yeah, I am. Well, it took a long time to make that decision for myself, and it's the best decision I've ever made.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
Our second play here at GPLT from October 24th to November 9th. Adrian Tanasichuk has done everything for GPLT. He's been a board member, actor, stage manager, and many times a director. This season, he has stepped up into some very big shoes. He will send chills up and down our spines, directing the Stephen King thriller, Misery. Whoa. For our third play, the Christmas Party Season Special, GPLT has been honoured to produce the Canadian Community Theatre debut, premiere, it says here, of a new comedy by the Edmonton playwright Holly Lewis. It runs from November 28th to December 14th, with the option of a tasty Christmas dinner. Wayne Ayling will be directing in this very funny show set in Edmonton, The Fiancé.
Hi, My name is Wayne Ayling, and I'm the General Manager of Grande Prairie Live Theatre. In 1981, my wife and I moved to Grande Prairie because of Grande Prairie Live Theatre. I'd learned about it when I was going to school, and even though I wasn't taking theatre in school, I was involved in a lot of plays. And so when we were looking for a place to put down some roots, we came to Grande Prairie because of Grande Prairie Live Theatre, and I've been involved ever since. As a volunteer, actor, director, producer, creator of new works, and for twice in my life, I've been the general manager. For 5 years the first time, then I took some time away, and then I've been back now for 13 years.
Can you speak a bit about your current role at Grande Prairie Live Theatre?
Grande Prairie Live Theatre is very unique in Alberta because we have so many different lines of business. So as the general manager, I'm the support person for all of the plays, the directors, the actors, the producers, but I also manage 2 different live theatres. Our home theatre, located in the centre of Grande Prairie, 161 seats, and a brand new theatre attached to the St. John Paul II Catholic School at 304 seats. It's called the KMSC Law Performing Arts Theatre. And between those 2 theatres, I managed in this past season over 600 bookings of theatre space. Very, very busy with community, for-profit, touring groups, big musicals, small plays, school events, and we also do our Rising Star summer drama camps in using both theatres, training youth between 7 and 14 with real theatre skills.
And you mentioned that Grande Prairie was growing rapidly at the time as well. You'd been involved in theatre since you were 14, but what inspired you to get into this role specifically?
Well, in the beginning I was a volunteer, and it just became something that I wanted to do. The first time the general manager's job came up unexpectedly, and I thought, well, I'll quit my day job and join the theatre. At least with a live theatre, you don't have to move from place to place. You've got your roots, and my family agreed. So that's what was the impetus to become the manager.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of your job?
As the general manager, I get to see the successes of new people. People walk in the door, they want to volunteer. Some try out to be actors, which is an extremely traumatic experience if you've never been on stage before because of the possibility of rejection. Others come in, they just want to help out. They want to help on the concession, do front of house, backstage, do costumes. But every person who does come in develops something in their life that they don't get from other places. Self-esteem, ability to work with other people, and to be creative. So many people nowadays, their jobs are run by the computer, and live theatre is not run by a computer. It's run by talent, ingenuity, creativity, and drive to put on a product that your friends and neighbors will actually like.
On the flip side, what would you say is the most challenging aspect?
The most challenging aspect is getting people who have never been involved in the theatre to understand that the theatre is a positive, life-changing experience. Whether it's as simple as taking a couple hours on a Friday night and laugh your face off, or go and watch a serious drama that asks you serious questions about life. Those are experiences that you think you get from TV and the movies, but on stage, those are real people, real emotions, and it gets to your head and your heart.
What would you say sets Grande Prairie Live Theatre apart from other theatres?
Well, there's many community theatres in Alberta. Grande Prairie Live Theatre is, I believe, the most active. We have a play season, we have a concert season. We're open for business as far as supporting other community groups to put on their live entertainment, professionals, touring professionals. We get involved in creating new works. We get involved in Canadian community theatre premieres. I was fortunate enough a few years ago to direct the world premiere of a play that ended up off London's West End. So that was pretty exciting to hear that it has gone all the way to England and performed on a professional stage, and it was nominated for Best Director, Best Play in its season. So you have opportunities in Grande Prairie that perhaps you don't have in other community theatres.
Can you speak a bit about the history of the theatre here?
Grande Prairie Live Theatre was incorporated in 1963. It was an amalgamation of 3 live theatre groups that were in operation at the time. And they felt that they would be stronger if they all joined together rather than trying to compete for resources, compete for spaces in, at that day, it was all high school gyms is where they performed, and also in churches. And so they came together and started what was then called Grande Prairie Little Theatre, because in the 60s, a little theatre was an innovative, groundbreaking type of experimental theatre. Over time, little became just little. So we changed our name to Grande Prairie Live Theatre, and that's who we are today.
Can you speak a bit about the history of the building?
The building that we're in is called the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Building, and it used to be an abandoned tire store with a flat roof, 3 bay doors where you could bring your cars and trucks in to get tires, and it became a derelict building. The owners stopped paying taxes, so the city took it back due to the lack of payment of taxes. And in the late 80s, we were looking for a space to call our home. We were growing. We needed more opportunities to put on plays. And the city said, well, you can take over this abandoned tire store and turn it into a theater. So when we opened, it was not as large or as complex as it is today. It had a lobby. It had a tiny space that you would climb up through a circular staircase to the lighting and sound booth. It had the seats, and it had a very tiny stage and very tiny backstage area, tiny dressing rooms. And over the years, we've added more space, a second floor, a balcony, a very nice green room, which is the actor's rest area. The dressing rooms are modernized. And we acquired a 2,600 square foot derelict city building to store our props. And we actually have a costume room with over 1,000 costumes, boots, and hats.
Do you have any performances or events coming up that you'd like to speak about?
Well, we're nearing the end of our season. Right now we're doing our last play of our 61st season. And today we're at the reveal of our 62nd season. So next season we're doing some very exciting plays. We're doing a Canadian Community Theatre premiere of a professional show written by Holly Lewis called The Fiancé. We're doing the musical Grease. We're doing a small musical called The Last 5 Years, and a horror film for the first time called Misery, based on the Stephen King novel. We're also doing a very interesting Shakespeare. We're doing a play called The Complete Works of William Shakespeare, revised, abridged, and again revised. And it has all 37 of his plays in a 97-minute, 3-actor performance.
Are your events family friendly?
We do have every year a play that's for youth, for young audiences. This coming January or next January, we'll be doing the Stinky Cheese Men and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. And it's a perfect place for youth to get involved in the theater, and it's a perfect place for people to bring families. Grande Prairie is a very young city, lots of families, and it's our way of welcoming people at a very young age to experience live theater.
What are your hours of operation?
Well, as far as the theater side of it is concerned, we're available whenever the volunteers want to rehearse, perform. We do have box office hours from 10:30 in the morning till 4:30 at night. Closed between 1 and 2 for lunch, Monday to Friday. But basically, we answer the phone at any time.
And what could people expect when visiting?
It's the unique experiences that we offer, whether it's comedy, drama, music, other entertainment. It's a way of getting out of the house and meeting with your friends. We do have a full-service lounge, alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverages. We allow people to take their beverages into the theater to enjoy while the event is on. It's just a great place to come with your friends, family. And what's interesting in the last few years is we've become a hub for date night. So that's pretty cool.
What is your Encore Lounge?
Encore Lounge is on our second floor, and it's a place for people to gather before the play, during intermission, or in other events. And it's very, there's windows on two sides, and the roof has a lot of windows in it. So it's very bright and a great place to just sit back and relax and talk about what you've seen on the stage.
Where do you hope to see Grande Prairie Live Theatre in 5 years?
Well, one of the things that we're continually doing is upgrading our technical equipment. And so over the next 5 years, we plan to modernize and upgrade our sound system, our lighting control board. We have plans for the room that we're in right now to turn it into a memory gallery where behind me you see posters, but we actually have enough photographs to cover this wall with photographs from plays, so that people can walk in here and say, oh, that's my uncle there, or oh, I was in that play. And just another way of connecting people with the wonderful aspect of live theater.
In your opinion, what makes Grande Prairie unique?
The region of Grande Prairie has been unique since the beginning of time. We're called La Grande Prairie because there's more arable farmland in Grande Prairie than in the entire province of Manitoba. So in the early days, it was about the wheat, it was about the crops. And as time went on, oil and gas was discovered. We also have a $1 billion brand new hospital. We have a great Northwestern Polytechnic. So it's a great place to raise a family and make money.
And what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Follow your heart. That's it.
In the new year, we are bringing back the play for young audiences. New to GPLT, but not new to live theatre, is director Christa Temple. She cannot wait to direct The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. Based on the book by John Siska and Lane Smith by John Glore.
I'm Christa Temple. I live in Grande Prairie, Alberta. I was born and raised here, and I'm a part of various parts of the community, including Grande Prairie Live Theatre, where next season I'm going to be directing a children's play.
Born and raised in Grande Prairie, what do you love about Grande Prairie?
Oh, so many things. For me, I like being here because I have a lot of connections here. My friends and family are all here. I love the nature. I love the lakes. I love the trees. I love the forest. I love the community as well. Like we were discussing off camera, it's just still such a small town and everybody knows everybody. And I love that about it. You can go anywhere and run into people that you know and just be connected to the rest of the community.
You're directing a show next season for Grande Prairie Live Theatre. What got you involved with Grande Prairie Live Theatre?
Well, so again, I'm from here. I've been involved in some capacity with Grande Prairie Live Theatre for over 20 years. So I actually, some of the stuff that I first started doing when I was just out of high school was helping and working behind the scenes and on stage as well on some of the kids' shows that we did back then. And then I've been a part of bits and pieces here and there. I did live in Calgary for a few years off and on, so I wasn't as involved then, of course. But yeah, I really wanted to bring back something that they haven't done since before COVID, which was doing these kids shows that are a majority youth cast. So that's the whole goal here.
In the shows that you've previously done versus this show now of coming back to a majority child cast, where does that inspiration or that desire come from?
I just think that it's really great to start kids out young and you start that passion and building that fire inside of them for that creativity. I think that it's also nice for the audience when it's a kids show and the audience is going to be mostly kids, to be able to see kids on stage and not only just relate to them as their characters, but to also see themselves in that role and to be able to go, you know what, I could do that too.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak about the show that you are directing?
Yeah, for sure. So the show that we're doing is based on a book, which I think a lot of millennials know. It's called The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. So the reason that I chose that script is because I did read that book when I was young, and then also read it to my son when he was young, and I have a great passion for it, and it's unique sense of humor, I'll say. So yeah, I know that a bunch of people that I know that I have brought it up to get very excited. Oh, I loved that book when I was a kid. And so we're very hopeful that it's going to be successful, and a lot of people are going to have that nostalgia, and then introducing it to the young people who maybe haven't heard of it before as well.
What are you most excited for in the show?
Oh, I think I'm most excited / nervous for the musical aspect. So in the season reveal video that we did for GPLT, I described it as a comedy with music. So it's not a musical per se, but it does have musical parts to it, which I've never been involved in a musical myself before. As somebody who has been involved in theater, that's something that I've just never done. It's something that I've never really been interested in for myself as an actress. And so yeah, I'm kind of excited for that. I think it's going to be really fun to get that ensemble going and have everybody singing and dancing.
Hopefully we can come back next year and see the show.
Yeah, that would be great. It's at the end of January into the beginning of February.
Perfect. Hear that, Storyhive? Extend us. Just kidding. Coming back more to you in your onstage, offstage, sorry, not offstage, I meant like backstage.
Yeah.
In those roles, where does your passion for theater come from?
Oh, I don't even know if I could answer that. I think if you ask any creative person, they would probably give you a similar answer along the lines of that it's just something innate. It's just built in. I think a lot of people that have a true passion for some kind of artistic venture, it's like you don't have a choice. It's just something that you have to do. And so, I mean, I've had passion to act and be creative since I was very, very young, as long as I can remember, really. So that's where my passion lies, really, is on stage. However, I have been told by some people that I'm good off stage as well, off stage, behind the scenes. My husband has suggested that I direct for years. So this is kind of the first foray into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've never directed before this show that you're doing?
So, I mean, I did a homeschool drama class a couple of years ago. So I was directing the shows that we did for that. For a big scale show, an actual production with a full cast, this is the first time. The only other time that I've done something like this was very recently. I co-directed a friend of mine's play that she did for the One Act Festival for regionals here.
Oh, that's so fun. How'd that go?
That was great. Yeah, it was super fun. And working with somebody that I'm already close with, I think was really nice for my first directorial experience, just because we could really feed off of each other.
For sure. Moving in the future, do you hope to do more directing, more onstage stuff, or something else?
I don't know. I guess we'll see how this goes and how much I love it. If I really super love it, maybe I'll veer in that direction. Yeah.
You could always be, like Bradley Coopers of the world, directing and acting.
Yep, exactly.
Although I'm never sure how I feel about that.
I mean, I would say, and obviously I haven't done it yet, but I would say from the perspective of an actor, I kind of like the idea of it, because sometimes when you're being directed, you're kind of like, I'll do it that way, but I would do it a different way. And then you can just do it the way you want it to be done.
This is very true. Then I think about the point of how much of a director are you being, in the sense of you're just choosing what to do. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of turning that show. I mean, it is your show to direct, but then you're the one acting. So it's like, basically just 100% your show, which I guess if that's what you're going for, that would be wonderful. But I don't know where I'm going with this. Sorry, I'm sidetracking.
That's
us,
okay.
but that was my thought for the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Do you remember the first show you were in?
No. Probably not. The first show that I remember being a part of would have been in high school when we did the lottery. So if anybody's familiar with the lottery, it's a fairly well-known play, but we did that, and we had fake rocks, and the whole show is all about this little village where they sacrifice somebody, and so the whole sacrifice is to help the crops and everything, and they do a lottery to do it. So yeah, it was a fun experience.
In Grande Prairie, since you have been here your whole life, basically, do you have a favorite local spot?
Oh, a favorite local spot. I mean, I would say so many, and I would say that any of the spots that really are my favorite, I wouldn't tell you, because I don't want other people to go there.
That is totally true. I would do the same thing.
However, in terms of if people are watching and are going to be visiting Grande Prairie, I would definitely suggest visiting Saskatoon Island. I know people that have lived in Grande Prairie for years who say that they've never seen a trumpeter swan. We're the Swan City. So if you've lived here and you haven't seen a swan, you're not going out of town enough. I have seen flocks of swans.
Oh my God.
So, and if you ask locals, if you're here, people will tell you where there are different areas where you're sure to see. There's specific couples that come back every year and go to the same area. So, you know, it's recommended to not spread that information too much, because we don't want their nesting areas to be inundated by too many people, right? Mm-hmm. And then they become uncomfortable. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Saskatoon Island if you wanted to come and take in a little bit of the local flora and fauna. Other than that, we just have lots of really great, it's a very short history here, but we have lots of great history. I love the museum. It's small, but I remember going there when I was in kindergarten and like throughout my whole life. In the first couple of years of our homeschool journey, my son and I went almost every week. We would go all the time and just kind of walk through and check things out. And there's some of the older buildings in the village there that are fun to walk through, and everybody that works there is super friendly and fantastic, and it's free. So if you're coming to town and you want to check something out, that's always an option. Mm-hmm. We also have the art gallery in the Moutray Center next to the library, which is also free and usually full of lots of local artists' work as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then last question, I should have warned you about it, but I didn't.
Okay.
What is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Oh, not even just in regards to directing or acting or anything, theater or anything.
Life in general.
Life in general.
No pressure.
Oh, no, it's not that hard, actually, if it's not in regards specifically to theater. Because the best piece of advice that I ever received was from my sister-in-law's mother. So Sarah Bradshaw, she's fairly well known in a lot of communities. So the piece of advice that she gave me was when I was a very young mother. My son was under 1 year old, still a baby, and I was very stressed out about trying to get it all done, doing everything. And what she told me was, only boring women have clean houses. And that took so much pressure off of me, and I have carried that now for almost 17 years. We unfortunately lost her just over a year ago.
So sorry.
And I will carry that with me for my entire life and pass it on to as many people as I can, because I think that's such an important thing, and not just for mothers, but for everybody, to remember that you can't do it all. And you know what, like if there's dirty dishes on the counter, if there's dirt on the floor, it doesn't matter. Get out, live life, do the things, because it doesn't matter. Life is short and you have to enjoy it.
You do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this next part of the program. And I'd like everyone to please give a big welcome to Northwestern Polytechnic President Vanessa Sheen. Svendsen to come up to the special table. They have just signed a spectacular 10-year agreement to collaborate on a joint big community musical every second year. President Sheen, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, everybody. It is really exciting to be here and sign this agreement. You know, to have the Douglas J. Cardinal filled with local talent in the musical for dedicated performances is really something we look forward to. And also part of this agreement is having our students and our wonderful instructor who's in the audience work with GPLT to support the performing arts and the students who have an interest in that. So thank you again for having me and thank you for this partnership.
We look forward to going back to the Douglas J. Cardinal Theatre, which is kind of coincidental in the sense that I taught at Spruce Grove Composite High School, and it was also designed by Douglas Cardinal. And yes, it does have all these and we're looking forward to working with the NWP over the next 10 years and beyond. And we're really, I think, also sharing the Misha to bring his students here. That's the future of our theater.
Here to help celebrate the new agreement and Greece is Cameron Reynolds.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Robertson. I have 2 university degrees in performance art and dramatic education. I started working with Grande Prairie Live Theatre in 1998. So I was originally, the first show I ever did was Grease. I played the part of Rizzo. Then I went away to university, finished up and moved to the Calgary and worked there as an actor for a while, and then moved back home to Grande Prairie, and that was in 2004, so it's been 20 years that I've been back and been working with GPLT pretty much every year since then.
So you studied performing arts in university. What kind of got you into it? Where did that begin?
It's right from when I was a little kid. I always liked to be the center of attention. If you ask my parents, they'll agree to that statement. And I always knew I wanted to be a performer. In high school, I did high school plays, and anytime I could volunteer for singing at like Canada Day parades and things like that, I would do that. And so I always knew, ever since I was little, growing up in Grand Cache, that I wanted to perform and follow that route. So, and I came here to Grande Prairie Regional College for 2 years, and then went away to university after that.
Wow. Do you have a favorite performance or one that sticks out to you of being?
As a performer, I would say one of my all-time favorites was playing Rizzo in Greece.
That would be so much fun.
I think it holds a special place in my heart because it was my first show with Grande Prairie Live Theatre, as well as, the characters just all kinds of fun and sassy, and so I really enjoyed that role, and it holds a special place in my heart. But I've also had the opportunity to do other shows like She Stoops to Conquer. I played Mrs. Hardcastle, so, British accent, non-musical, so those hold a special place in my heart too. But I am a musical theater girl through and through.
And now you're directing Grease for Grande Prairie Live Theatre at...
Yeah. So it goes up February 6th to the 22nd, 2025, and so I decided I wanted to direct Grease as a kind of a full circle moment. My daughter is going into grade 12, and so for her last year before she heads out to university, I wanted to do this show, and she'll come and audition and all the rest of it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
that's very sweet.
I just finished in 2023. I directed Shrek the musical.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
For GPLT.
Oh wow, so many fun shows that you've gotten to do. That's awesome.
For sure.
So GPLT, you've come, you've gone, and like come back. Why do you think it's so special? Like, what keeps bringing you back every year?
You know, when I went away to university and then finished, I went and lived in the city for a while. And I had great acting experiences in the city, wonderful opportunities, but something about Grande Prairie and Grande Prairie Live Theatre just was so appealing to come home to or come back to. And it's the sense of community and the sense of family and this camaraderie that the people who are involved in theatre just share. And once you're in a show with somebody here, then when you see them, it's not just a hi, it's a hug. Aww. You know, you become family, and you do things together outside of theatre. You know, you have karaoke nights, and you know, I organize the Canada Day parade here in Grande Prairie for GPLT, and I just call people up, and you want to come and sing, and then we get together in my backyard and we practice, and you know, so it's these people who have a like mind, like passion, and just a love of Grande Prairie as a community, and performing and sharing talent and sharing passion that brings us all together. And not everywhere has that, and Grande Prairie has it in spades.
So performance-wise, what do you think is special about performing or being involved in theatre for people who maybe have always wanted to but are too scared or like don't know what to expect? What would you say to them about theatre and performance?
You know, Grande Prairie Live Theatre has a space for everybody. And even if you've never performed before, don't be afraid to come and audition. And I always say that when I see on like Facebook and things like that, people are like, I just moved to Grande Prairie, what would be, I always comment, get involved in theatre. Because even if you don't perform, there is something very special to me about performing. But not everybody who's involved in theatre is a performer. Mm-hmm. There is backstage managers, stage management, lights, sound, set design and construction, costuming, makeup, hair. There's so much that you can get involved in, and then you become part of this family. And you just grow as a human. You grow as, your talents, whether your talents are backstage or on stage. And you grow together with these people, and there's just something special and addicting about it. And once you do one, you will always come back for more. And maybe the first time you're just backstage, and then the next time you let yourself go there, and you let yourself go and audition and be on stage if that's what you feel your next step is. And there's a space for everybody here. Even if box office or helping out backstage or with the box office, handing out programs. It could start small and build. And that's the beauty of performance, that's the beauty of theatre, and that's the real beauty of community theatre, is that opportunity is there.
Wow, that was so beautiful and eloquent, and it makes me miss theatre so much. I used to do theatre all the time, and now we do more filming kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So just the rush of the audience, and like you're talking about the camaraderie and seeing people outside of the stage, it's really empowering and inspiring. So
well, and being on stage, for me, the electricity that you feel, like what the audience gives you, is so fulfilling and so addicting that I just don't know how everybody doesn't do it. Because it is such a part of who I am. It's part of my soul.
I completely agree. I did theater a lot and musical theater, and then I studied in school for film and TV, and it's a completely different experience. You know, the relationship you have to the camera versus the relationship with the audience. Like, you say something funny, the audience laughs. You express those emotions, they cry with you or they smile with you, and it's exactly what you're talking about. It's addicting. So
it really truly is. Yeah.
But sorry, back to this. What would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life? It can be performance based or just life in general based. There's no stipulations.
The best piece of advice I have ever received and would share is, there is one life. Follow what you are passionate about. Follow what you are driven with. because a lot of people, when I was going to school for performing arts, were like, well, yeah, but what are you going to do after? You know, how are you going to pay the bills? And I'm like, I'll worry about that then. Right now, I am following my dreams, my passion, what is part of who I am. And that was the best advice I ever got, was just do it. Just follow what drives you in this world, and great things will happen. And, you know, I got paid when I was working in Calgary as an actor, and it was more film and television stuff, and I didn't get the fulfillment the way that I get it in musical theater and in community theater and live theater. And so in my real life job, do I do theater? No. I do it in my own time, and so every moment and every penny I spent in university was so worth the experiences that I got. So follow your passion. That's my experience. That's what the advice I was given, and that's what I'd say for people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Our final play this season is very special, very unique, and quite funny. Very fast-paced. Here at GPLT from March 27th to April 12th. Returning from last season's very successful 12 Angry Jurors, Caitlin Carr will direct the complete work of William Shakespeare.
Hi, I'm John Moutray. I'm the President-elect of the GPLT Board of Directors. I've been involved with GPLT since 2010, and had a lot of big things go on in this theatre and also at the Douglas J. And,
What got you involved in live theatre?
So I was in college. I was taking a teaching degree, and one of the kind of elective courses I had was drama. And some of my classmates in that were in a pantomime here at GPLT and of Jack and the Beanstalk. And they needed somebody to play the giant. So they called me up, and I was like, yeah, sure, how hard could it be? And I've been a part ever since.
Wow, and when was that?
That was 2010.
Oh, okay, 2010.
That was my first show, Christmas of 2010.
And so you'd never pursued drama really before that?
Not really, no.
Wow. And so that was the performance for you that was like, oh, this is fun, I'm going to stay in this realm of...
Yeah, and then that following, I think it was the following February, we had the big musical at the college at the time, and it was Chicago. And I wasn't involved, but I got to see it. And I kind of made a promise to myself that whatever the next big musical was going to be, I was going to be part of it.
Oh. Yeah. What was it? Do you remember?
Cats.
Ah, okay. Fun. And were you on stage, backstage?
I was on stage.
On stage?
Yeah.
Is that where you've kind of been?
Primarily.
Mostly?
I've done a few things backstage, but primarily I've been on stage.
And so what got you into presidency then?
Well, I've been a volunteer here for a great number of years, and then eventually decided to join the board, and then just felt like the natural progression.
And how would someone become a volunteer?
You just show up, or you get roped in. A lot of people get roped in. They know people who are in there, and it's like, oh, we need this set of hands. We need this set of hands. We just kind of get brought in.
But then by the sounds of it, everyone kind of stays afterwards.
Pretty much, yeah.
Can you speak about a memorable experience or memorable show you've seen here?
Oh, well, for memorable experience, my wife and I got married on this very stage.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! That's so cute.
Yeah. Well, we met during Cats,
Aww.
and we got together shortly after the run, and we weren't officially married here, but our big ceremony was here on the stage.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so that's pretty memorable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a very big life experience that you have.
Yeah.
Aw. And is she involved in the theater at all?
She is, yeah. You might have seen her running around during the reveal. She was the one with the white hat taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She was in some footage.
Yeah.
What are you most excited for in your presidency?
Oh, goodness. There's lots to be excited about. Hopefully making changes for the good. Making our community as safe and welcoming as it can be.
where do you hope to see Grande Prairie Live Theatre in 5 years?
Like big picture, I'd love for us to get a new facility, get a great big performing arts center. That would be the dream. But as long as we're still here putting on great shows, being a great community, that'll be good.
And then last question, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Oh goodness. I think the best piece of advice I've gotten is don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Ooh.
Don't let driving for perfectionism stop you from doing what you are capable of. Just because you think it might not be perfect doesn't mean it's not good.
That's really good. I'm going to take that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, there you have it, our 60-second season. 2 musicals, comedies, intense dramas, and entertaining concerts. Something for everyone. Thank you to everyone who came to the theatre this afternoon. Season tickets and single tickets go on sale tomorrow. Season handouts are on the Twizzler table out in the lobby. Everyone is welcome to please stick around, head upstairs for some snacks and beverages. Thank you again so much for coming, and we'll see you upstairs.
This is the costume room of Grande Prairie Live Theatre. We have over 1,000 costumes, which includes hats and belts and shoes and dresses and specialty costumes. So we try not to throw anything away. And as you see, it's a long, skinny room just filled with any kind of a costume that you can imagine. All of our costume sets, props are available for community use. And for community use, we don't charge anything. We do ask for a damage deposit, but that's refundable. Well, we do have a roof, and we have a very high-tech way of getting to our roof with very high-tech instructions. So here is the way to get up, and there are the very high-tech instructions on what to do with the ladder. So Grande Prairie Live Theatre has gone through 4 major renovations and improvements since 1985, when we did our first conversion of the abandoned tire store into the theatre. And behind me is a very narrow hallway, and it also has the costume room with our 1,000 costumes. And where we're standing used to be outdoors. So with one of the modernizations, we built the floor that's underneath here, and underneath here is, we call it a hallway that has some desks in it, i.e. offices. And back this way is the memory gallery. We have dinners there, and it's a place for storing our overflow costumes right now. So when I give a tour, we generally start in the lobby and we go through, and I call it the Ghosts and Gargoyles tour. So here's our family of gargoyles, and so they protect the green room. And we're standing now in a green room that used to be outdoors. And this mirror, this makeup mirror with the lights on, used to be the back door of the curling rink. And these doors are the original 1985 doors of the theatre. So over time we built this room, and due to partnerships always being the thing, we partnered with the curling rink to build this room, and they were going to use it as a place for their big events. They would come in here, and so they only did it twice because it didn't really work for them. And so for quite a long time, there were the outside doors of the curling rink here. And what was interesting is that they were not soundproof or weatherproof. So the cold from the curling rink would come in here, and we would hear the hurry hard and the smashing of the rocks. But what was worse for the curling rink is the heat from this room would go through the doors and ruin the ice. So in one of our modernizations, we insulated that wall and got rid of the doors. We actually have an anti-ghost light. And so when we get to the lobby, I'll explain what a ghost light is.
Thank you. So can you explain a bit about the gargoyles? Like, is there any reason for that, or?
The gargoyles were props for our musical, The Addams Family.
Oh, very cool.
And The Addams Family was the very first live event in the KMSC Law Performing Arts Theatre. So when the theatre opened, this space here, which has a vanity and facilities, actually had a big shower. And back in 1985, it was very, very well used. But over time, people's habits have changed, and so nobody was using the shower, so we actually turned it into a vanity. And there used to be 2 sinks here, because back in the 80s, the makeup that was used was very, very heavy, and you had to, it was terrible for your skin if you didn't remove the makeup after the performance. So we actually had 2 sinks so people could do it very quickly. But over time, the type of makeup that's used has changed, and the lighting has changed. With LED lighting, because it's like the sun, with many little lights that give different colors, you don't need as strong a makeup as you used to. Very interesting change in technology. And one of the success stories of COVID is that we were shut down for 2 years, and that allowed us to do a lot of modernization. So that adding that closet there, and then this was a storage area that was open here, and the only way you could get to it is to kind of go from there to over to here and reach, and so we closed it in and turned it into a proper closet. So COVID was a terrible thing, but it really helped us. So where we are now was the original backstage. So the door ended there, and this was all open. So this area is where we built all of our sets. And you see how narrow this door was. This was the only way that actors could get onto the stage. It's through a door here and a door over there. And right here in the middle are some plywood inserts. So we would build the sets here and then have to move these out, and everything had to fit within this insert to get onto the stage.
Oh my goodness.
So in one of the modernizations, when we got the green room, we filled this in, and we have a very interesting paint room. And then at the end of the hall is a technical room. There's 3 stories behind a ghost light. So this is Grande Prairie Live Theatre's ghost light in our lobby. So the first story is that if you don't have ghosts and you don't want to have ghosts, you put your ghost light on at night when you leave the building. That way, when the ghosts come by your front door, they see the light on and they don't come in. The second story is that if you have ghosts, you put the ghost light on so at night when they do their theatricals, they have a light. Which doesn't make any sense to me, because why do ghosts need a light? The third story is the truth. Back in the days when theaters used kerosene lanterns to light, they started to convert to electricity. But the electricity would only come into one spot in the building. It's not like today where you've got light switches everywhere. And so if the electricity came in from the alley and you came in the front door, you would have to go through this whole theater in the dark because there were no flashlights. And so it was dangerous to go up and down the stairs and over the stage. So they would put a low wattage light bulb over the stage so that you wouldn't kill yourself. And the Northwestern Polytechnic has a true ghost light over their stage because their theater is so big, and there are places where you can go in where you can't turn the light on. So that is the stories behind a ghost light. So we're standing on the stage of Grande Prairie Live Theatre, and we have all these set pieces from the current play, halfway there by Norm Foster, kind of pushed back because earlier today we had the 62nd season reveal and we had a big screen that dropped down. So that basically shows the different things that we can do here. We have a Northern Alberta's only laser movie projector. And you don't have to, it's not a bulb, so it has 12,000 hours that it goes, and then you have to buy a new laser.
That's
So,
cool. I didn't know that.
yeah. And so our screen drops down. We also have a curtain here that drops down. So tonight we actually have a comedy show. So we'll drop the curtain down and the comedian will perform in front of it. And when we do our concert series, that's what we do. We drop the curtain down, you've got 12 feet, and the small groups that we have here, it's perfect. When the theater opened, we did not have a balcony, we didn't have a second floor, and the stage came only to here. Oh, wow. So it was very, very, very narrow, and there was no wing space. Like behind this flat, the stage wall, temporary stage wall, is an opening, and that goes to the wing space on stage right. So everything had to come through the back, which meant that our sets had to be very minimalistic, or minimal. And over the years, we've extended the stage. And when we opened in 1985, we had 185 seats on the main floor. Now we only have 142. And what we discovered is that at 185 seats, the rows were too close together. Nobody wanted to come, so we took out 3 rows within the first 6 weeks and reduced the number of seats, but increased the comfort level. Then a strange thing happened in 2006. So we opened in 1985, and in 2006, we noticed that all of the seats shrunk. People didn't fit in the seats anymore. So we should have rejected those seats. But what we did do is acknowledge that from 1985 to 2006, people had gotten larger. So we got new seats, and they're larger. And then people are happy. But it's interesting how things have changed over the years. When we opened the theater in 1985, our sound system was a reel-to-reel tape.
Sorry, what's a reel-to-reel tape?
It's tape about this big, and it was reel-to-reel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like very old.
Well, some of us. I did. When I went to school, it was new school, but yeah, it's old school now. So, in the middle of a show, the tape would break, and so we had to splice it together.
Oh my goodness.
In the middle of a live show.
Wow.
So our techies would have friendly competitions as to who could splice the tape the quickest.
Aww.
To have the bragging rights.
Yeah.
So nowadays everything's digital, right? And so there's an enhanced quality to shows. Yeah, so that's the theater.
Welcome back. We just finished up with Grande Prairie Live Theatre, and I miss doing theatre. I used to do theatre all the time. Sorry, my hair is bothering me.
I was a part of some of that. I was backstage, though.
I haven't done theatre in a hot minute, and just hearing people talk about how amazing theatre is and the power of theatre and how passionate they are about theatre, I'm like, wow, I want to do theatre again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time.
Everyone was, like I said, so passionate and so kind, and that's such a prevalent thing in Grande Prairie, like the community and the camaraderie, and especially in theater, you work so closely with other people, and it's just amazing and beautiful. So
yeah, I learned a lot. Didn't know what a ghost light was for. That's so fun. I loved it.
Some very cool and talented people we'd met as well. So very fun.
If you have an inkling of maybe wanting to do theater, check out Grande Prairie Live Theatre or your local community theatre.
They're always taking volunteers.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Thanks.